Okay, in the previous video I spoke about crippled root, and I explained that these containers up here, at the top here, they all, when you go into those, you will be running as crippled root, whereas on the main desktop I'm running as the full root with full privileges. So I'm the administrator with all of the rights, all of the privileges. However, I also mentioned in that video that you can boot up in what we call in lockdown mode, okay, lockdown mode, in which you're running in the RAM and you're running as crippled root. So this is a highly secure mode, and you can even disable the internal drives. So down here in the corner here, these are the internal drives. You can actually disable them totally, so you can't even see them. So that is a mode where you want to be totally isolated and leave no trace when you shut down. Leave no trace on the host computer at all. Okay, I would like to say a bit more about that, but also something else. You see these up here, on the top here? These are different kinds of files. What I'm always aiming to do in EasyOS is to make everything easy. And what we want to do with these 4 different types of files is to be able to open them up with a single click. Okay, the first one is an ISO file. Now most Linux distributions ship as an ISO file. And an ISO file, traditionally an ISO file would be written to an optical media like a CD or a DVD, and you would then boot up from it. They do now have what they call hybrid ISO files, which you can write to a flash drive and boot up from the flash drive, which has probably become the most common mode now. It's still not an installation though, because it's just an ISO file in the flash drive, and you still have to install it. So that's how other Linux distributions work. So that's an ISO file, and then I've mentioned many times in previous videos that this is the tiny little Linux operating system that starts up when EasyOS is first booting up. Loads into RAM, it runs, it does various setup things, and then it switches over to the full desktop, which is the overlay FS file system. This is a squash file system. This particular one is called easy.sfs, and this is the basis. The whole EasyOS is stored in here. So when we switch over to the full desktop, this will be in the overlay file system at the bottommost layer. And then over here is a drive image file. And EasyOS is shipped as a drive image file. Now, what we can do with all of these, we can look inside them just by clicking on them. Now you can right click and you'll get other options, but if we just click on this, for example, this is QuickPup64. This is one of the Puppy Linux distributions. I just grabbed that one just to show you. And you want to see what's inside it? Just click on it. There we go. And it tells you there, click on it again to unmount it. Okay, that's important. You've got to close up afterwards. Okay, and now we can look around and make whatever sense you can of all of that stuff. This is more for technical people who are interested in the technical side of things. Can look inside the ISO and see what it consists of. And when we're finished, we just click on it again and it goes away. It's unmounted. The same thing with the initrd. Actually, I'll leave that one till last. I'll talk about this one first, the easy drive image file. I have shown this in an earlier video, but oh, hold on, I already mounted it before. So, okay, let's do it again. Yeah, okay. So when you mount it, you've got a choice of mounting it as read-only or read-write. Normally we would choose read-only, and then we can have a look and we can see what's inside it. Okay, and when we're finished, we click on it again to unmount it. Okay, now it's unmounted. Squashfs files, we can also look inside those. Now these are all getting mounted read-only, so we can't actually edit them. Squashfs files is the same thing. A squashfs file is a read-only file system. So again, we can have a look inside it, we can see what it consists of, and then we can do that again to unmount it. initrd though, we can actually open that up and edit it and then close it up again, update it. Now this is for people who really want to get into it, really wanted to get a hacking on EasyOS. You can click on that and it says expanded. Do you want to open it up and optionally edit it? Let's do yes. And there's quite a few of the EasyOS guys who are helping with the development, and they will do this, mainly when you're chasing bugs. Okay, initrd expanded. Initrd has been expanded at root, initrd-expanded folder. You may edit the contents if you wish. Afterward, if you click on it again, it will be updated with the contents of root initrd expanded. In other words, this initrd file will be updated if you make any changes. So we can do this, okay, and there it is. What I really wanted to show you here was, in the previous video I spoke about booting up in lockdown mode, crippled root, very quickly. So this is getting a bit technical. If you want to go into here and look around to see what everything does, this is the init script. This is what will run when at boot up. This is what actually runs. It's the script here. So we have a look at it. Okay, and I'll go right down to the very end. At the very end of it is where the switch happens out of the initrd into the main desktop, the overlay file system. And there are two options here. This is the normal startup. So this switch root forms the operation of getting out of initrd, switching over to the overlay file system and the full desktop. However, if you have chosen the lockdown mode, it does a couple of things there. There's a thing called confidentiality security mode, which just restricts the kernel somewhat. But then something else happens here as well. In the previous video, I spoke about Linux capabilities, that you can drop Linux capabilities, and that was one of the mechanisms for achieving crippled root. And that's what happens here. You see, it's got this little utility called capsh --drop equal, and there's a list here of the capabilities that are going to be dropped. So you'd have to look back up in the script to see that. But that just shows you how the capabilities are dropped before we do go onto the main desktop. And once you're in the main desktop with all the capabilities dropped, you're stuck in that then. You can't get out of it. That's the root user is crippled. Okay, just thought I'd quickly show you that. So those who are really interested in the technical side of things can study the scripts and find bugs, make enhancements, whatever you want to do. And just feed it back to me. Okay, now when you're finished with that, it's always important to close up afterwards. Okay, so you do this. Do we want to make any changes? Update. It's expanded. Do you want to make any changes? We'll just do no. No. Do you want to delete that expanded folder? Yeah, we'll delete it. There we go. And we've closed up. So I just wanted to show you those interesting things. I try to achieve one-click operations wherever possible. In a graphical user environment, you want to be able to look inside all these different things without going to the command line or anything. Just click on it and that's it. Most of them you can right-click as well, like this. You can right-click and you get other options, a context-sensitive menu to show you other things that you can run. Burn the ISO to a CD, for example, and there's another one, pburn. That's another application written by someone called Zigbert for writing an ISO file to a CD or DVD. So these are context-sensitive applications. Okay, that's all I wanted to say in this video. Just a little quick run through and some useful information, I think. And we'll stop the video.